Okay, I am asking for feedback here. I have got on the microphone in a different place today. So I'm just asking for feedback as I talk to make sure you can hear me, and I'll ask anybody who's out there to just give me, yes, the sound is good, or no, the sound is not, or maybe there's no sound at all because it's not working. So if not, if I don't hear from anybody, you're fine. I'll know. We're going to use a strap, and they're hanging. Ellen, do you have your own strap? I cleaned them. The one hanging right over there? Yes. Ellen, did you get one? Helen, did you get one? Okay. All right. See to the left, that purple on the, yeah. Those are the clean ones. And, okay, so watching. Those that are watching, can you hear me all right? Like, when I move around, do I sound just so terrible that you want to take me out of your ear? Because that's so bad. So let me know, please. Respond if you're watching so that I know. And when I move around, does it get worse? Do I sound worse? Is it muffled and in and out, kind of irritating? You know what I mean? So if you could make a written response here, it's fine. Kim says it's fine. Kim, that's a good response. So it's okay, you can hear me. Yeah, Kim said it's fine. So, yes, the response is typed, but I can't see it unless I get right up there. So, yeah, but I can't see it unless I get like right there to read it. And even then, I have to have my glasses to read it. So, go figure, you know? Yes, no annoying sounds. Thank you. Okay. No annoying sounds. So I'm not going in and out and sounding like make you. Okay. Well, I tried the shirt. That's what people were saying. It's like when I did Down Dog, it would be like really, really loud. So we'll try this. If it doesn't work, I just want to make sure people can hear. You know what I mean? Okay, so let me know if you're having any trouble with sound, but we're getting ready to start. So those of you who are here in the studio, get comfortable on a mat. If you choose, you can let yourself. I just realized I got to check the light. Lighting look okay, guys, in there, I think. I'm not sure. Hold on. One more thing, guys. I think I forgot to do the little, lightning bolt. Okay. All right. So since last time I really messed up and didn't even get this recorded, I'm really a little bit paranoid. So I accidentally didn't put it on this page. I did it on my private page. So yeah, but it cut off after like 40 minutes. And I don't know why, but it did. And but so actually some people who weren't in the group were interested in joining, so it worked out. It had an okay thing. Yeah. All right, so sit however's comfortable. Use blankets if you choose. Let yourself close your eyes. And really just enjoy starting to feel the breath coming in and going out through your nose. So feeling the breath easily, not forcing, just accepting your breath. And see if you can watch where your breath goes. Do you feel the breath coming into your belly? And can you bring the breath in a little bit deeper, inhaling into your belly, your ribs, and into your chest? Continuing to lengthen up through the top of your head. And then we'll release our arms on out beside us here now. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse. Keep the hands together as you inhale them up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And now take your right arm and see if you can make a big circle. Bring it forward and up overhead as far as you can, back behind you. Don't do anything that hurts. And then stop when it gets at the bottom and then reverse that circle. Start to the back, reaching back and forward and up and keep on going to let it come on down. And we'll go to the other arm. So bringing that left arm up and overhead. And again, letting it come behind you and letting it release down. And then we'll reverse, reaching back and then out and up and overhead and letting the arm come on down here. Good. Let's inhale the arms straight out from the shoulders and flex your hands. So let yourself bend your elbows. Bring the hands in towards your shoulders. And then as you exhale, press out into the hands. Press down into your feet a little bit. Feel the belly engage. And then again, inhaling, bringing the hands in. And exhaling, pressing out into the heels of the hands. And one more time. Inhaling, bringing the hands in. And on the exhale, we'll press into the hands here. Let yourself open up there through the bottoms of the arms. And then release your arms on down. Shake your hands out just a little bit. And let's take a nice inhale here. And on the exhale, we'll twist to our left. Bring your right hand towards your left knee. Let yourself lengthen up through the top of your head. Really enjoy waking up the spine here in an easy little twist. Inhaling. And on the exhale, we'll come back around through center and all the way around into the other direction, lengthening upward. Soft through the shoulders, waking up here into the spine. One more inhale. And on the exhale, use your belly to come on back into center again. And let's come forward into a little forward bend. So you know if you're in your chair, you may want to separate your feet. And you may want to let your hands or your elbows come above your knees. If you're on the floor, you go with that long back forward. But if you want to walk farther out, do. Just pay attention to how your back feels. Take your time. If possible, let your head release so the chin comes down just a little bit to release the back of your neck. But obviously, don't put any kind of pressure that doesn't feel good into your back. One more breath here. And then we'll slowly start to make our way on up, bringing our feet on back closer together again here now. And let's stretch our legs out. Remember which leg you had in front if you're cross-legged. Stretch your legs out for a second. Flex through your feet. Really let yourself feel the backs of your legs there. And then point through both feet, really feeling the tops of the feet get a nice release. So keep flexing and pointing a little bit, your own timing, just to wake up your feet, your ankles. Let yourself move a couple more times through. And then see if you can circle your feet. And it doesn't matter whether you circle the same direction or opposite directions with your feet. But just reverse when you want so that you go both ways. And it feels good to release there through the ankles and the feet. And then if you were cross-legged, come back to the other leg in front when you do come back with your legs crossed. Bringing your arms on out beside you again here now. Feel how your feet are in the floor. And let's inhale just the right arm all the way out and up overhead and come over into a little side stretch. So your hand can be on the floor. You can use your chair, you know that. You can put your hand in your lap if you want. But just breathe into that right side of the body. And then we'll come on back up. We're going to lower that arm on down, and we'll reverse. Left arm's going to come all the way out and up overhead, reaching up through the fingertips, coming over, using that bottom hand, however you choose, letting yourself breathe into the side ribs there. And then we'll come on back up. We're going to lower the arms on down. And now, bring your hands behind you and interlace your fingers. Clasp your hands. So if you're in your chair, you'll need to scoot forward just a little bit. And then from here, come just a little forward. It might be an inch, right? You may decide to keep that back nice and long. You're only going to come just a tiny little bit forward. It might feel good to come farther forward, keeping your back long. That's up to you. Again, just be mindful, letting yourself, it's almost like you're imagining you're leading forward with your chest, right? Your chest comes forward. You're reaching back through your tailbone and your sits bones. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly make our way back up, release our arms on out, and shake your hands out just a little bit. We're going to come on around towards our hands and knees. And if you do not want to be on your knees, don't be. Use a blanket if you're on the floor, and that feels better. Grab yourself a chair for under your hands, or your blocks for under your hands work too. If your wrists bother you, come into fists if you need to. Then spread your fingers nice and wide. Let yourself take your time here. Get yourself nice and lengthened out here. And now, just think about letting your navel make little circles here. They don't have to be big. They may be so small that you can hardly see yourself move, or it's a very deep movement of thinking about the navel coming into these little circles in one direction, letting your exhales draw the navel towards the spine, and your inhales send the navel down and around. And then when you're ready to go the other way with those circles, you stop and just reverse. And let yourself, again, really focus. Close your eyes and feel this is really deep, and you're letting yourself find all those muscles to the side, moving through, isolating a little bit there. Finish off back at center, and then take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, draw up into your cat pose. Feel the tailbone drop down. Let your head release down. And as you inhale, send your tailbone back and up, moving on back through your cow pose. So moving through with your own breath, letting your exhales draw you up into your cat. Your inhales send you back and through into cow. And it's your own timing. So you may decide you want to be really slow about this. You may decide you want to move quicker. You may want to stay in cat or cow for a couple of breaths without moving, because it feels really good to be in the pose for a couple of breaths. So finishing off, let that suppleness of your spine feel so good and easy. Natural movement. Finish off the one you're on. And we'll come to more neutral spine here now. Let yourself from here. Step your left foot forward and right foot back and come into a lunge. So whatever height you are, that is up to you. Hands can be on the blocks any height. They can be on the chair seat or the chair back if you want. They can be on a kitchen counter if you want. So draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Let yourself find that length of the back body. Imagine the back of your head being in line with your spine, which keeps you from lifting your chin up and tensing up the back of the neck there. We're going to switch legs. So take your time. Remember, feet are a little bit apart the wide way in your lunge, so you don't want to be like you're on a tightrope. You want a little bit of space between the feet the wide way. Shoulders drawn down away from your ears, and just make sure that front knee is bent no farther forward than your ankle. Let's switch again. So this time, once you get into your lunge, just get a little bit more going by pressing the feet gently away from each other, like you're trying to lengthen your mat with your feet. Feel that action up into your hips. And then we'll switch one more time. So again, finding that lunge there, and then starting to engage a little more, pressing the feet away from each other like you're making your mat longer with your feet. And we'll step forward from here. Come on into your standing forward bend now. We're all different with this. You're welcome to put things up on your chair so that you're up higher if your back does not like you coming into more of a forward bend. Don't do it. Keep your back long, stay up higher. And you can even put your hands up like on the back of the chair like that and still be in a forward bend. So be mindful. Remember, you don't want to lock your knees. You can bend the knees. You can even walk a little bit in your forward bend, letting one knee bend at a time. Sometimes that feels really good. And then even yourself out so that either both your knees are slightly bent or more bent, or they're straighter but not locked. And just come in to be with your breaths now, accepting your breaths in and out. Appreciating the full deep breaths all the way in, all the way out. And let your face soften. Let everything go all around your eyes, your mouth. Imagine relaxing your throat. Good. One more full deep breath. And then we'll bend our knees, press into our feet. We're going to rise up and inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Coming into your mountain pose here now. So if you need to look at your feet, do. If you need to walk in place, get yourself really grounded equally through your feet. Toes are facing forward, feet are as parallel as feels good for you. And then bringing your hands just gently to meet in front of your chest. And for a second here, separate your pointer fingers. Let them separate away from each other. And then on the next exhale, let them come back to touch. And then go to the pinky fingers. See if you can separate your little fingers. And then as you exhale, bring them back and really feel them connecting. Let's go to the middle fingers and try them. And then let them reconnect. And then your ring fingers are going to come apart a little. And then easily release them back. Now try the thumbs just a little bit. Don't do too much where it feels uncomfortable. And then bring the thumbs back. So spread the fingers. Feel the hands now connected. Don't press hard, but just feel that there's energy out into the hands. When you press them gently together, release your shoulders down away from your ears. And now as you feel your feet equally into the floor, let's unfold our arms on down beside us. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, come forward into your standing forward bend. Now on your next inhale, find a nice long flat back. Lengthen out through your spine, whether your hands are up on your shins or your thighs or onto your chair or your blocks. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. So press the feet again away from each other. Feel the belly engaging now. Zip up that low belly. Inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So as you come into your down dog, you know it's up to you. Whether your hands are up on a chair, back, or on a chair seat, or up on blocks, or down on the floor. Walk a little bit in your dog. Let yourself bend one knee at a time. And let your head turn a little bit too, just so you know you're not clenching in your neck, right, or your jaw. You know, really come on back to your full dog. On your next inhale, come on out to a plank. Now, how far you come out to that plank is up to you. And whether you come to forearms to get out of your wrist or put your knees down to do a half plank, it's fine. Think about your sitting bones reaching down towards your heels. And then we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. Again, walk if you need. Feel your elbows softly hugging inward so you feel your shoulders in a really good place here. And we will bring the right foot forward to come into lunge. You know you can put your left knee down if you need to get that right foot forward. And then we'll come back into our standing forward bend, feet hips distance apart and parallel. And only you know how your back feels. So if you're fine to go ahead and release, hands down towards blocks or the floor. Maybe you want to put your hands on your elbows, feeling the backs of the legs just gently opening up from the pose, but not forcing. You don't want to feel discomfort. And then really watch your breaths all the way in and all the way out. One more full deep breath. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips, bend our knees, rising on up, and we'll inhale our arms out and up overhead. Exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And now unfold your arms, bring your hands behind you, interlace your fingers, clasp your hands back there. And take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward. Now you can stay up, parallel to the floor. So you're like a 90-degree angle at your hips. If that feels better for your back, stay there. Or you can fold forward, letting the top of the head release towards the floor. Now, if your arms need to stay right there, let them stay. If you want the arms to come away from your back, if that feels really releasing for your shoulders, you can do that. Full deep breaths, one more breath. And then release your hands on down, arms on down. Inhale, find that nice flat back again. Nice tabletop flatness in your back. And we'll step the left foot back to come into lunge. Press the feet away from each other. Now draw your shoulders down. Feel that length of the back body. Inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So take your time as you come to that dog. Don't do anything that feels uncomfortable in your shoulders. So if you need a little more height under your hands, use it. Spread your fingers if you can, nice and wide. Feel your elbows hug towards each other. And on the next inhale, come on out again towards that plank. Now, if you like to do push-ups, you can do push-ups. So you let the elbows come in a little bit towards your ribs. You don't even have to go very far in a push-up to get a lot going on in your biceps and your shoulders. So take your time, be where you can, and then we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. And then we'll bring the left foot forward to come into lunge. Now, whatever way you need to do that, and you know that, knee down if you need. And then we'll come forward into standing forward bend. Right feet, hips distance apart. Right into where you're comfortable to be, so use support if you need. And go right to your breaths now. All the way in, all the way out. See if you can find those little spaces between your breaths. So at the end of your inhale, that little space, that little pause before you exhale. And the same thing at the end of your exhales. It's not like you're holding your breath, but there is that little, tiny little pause. Just be aware of feeling those little spaces between your breaths. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips, bend our knees, press into our feet. Come on up and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Sit back in a little chair pose. Let it be as high or as low as you want to go. Let your weight shift a little more to your heels. Keep your hands at your heart. Let it feel really good, very equal between your legs. Your back is still long, and it's like your pelvis tilts a little bit, right? You're really reaching back on a diagonal line with your tailbone here. Good. One more breath. And then press into your feet, rise up. Inhale the hands up through the midline of the body. And on the exhale, we're going to open and fold forward, coming into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale lengthen into your spine. And we're going to walk into a down dog from here. So you place your hands the height you like to be. Spread your fingers if you can. I know it's harder on the blocks, but feel your elbows hugging in towards each other. And on the next inhale, come on out to the plank again. Now, it is up to you. You can do a back bend or not. You can stay right here in your plank, using that core strength. You can come down and do a little sphinx on your forearms or a cobra pose, a little cobra, or up to your up dog. And then we'll make our way back to down dog. Remember, those back bends are totally optional. So walk a little if you need. Let your body do just what it wants when you're coming back to dog here. Just imagine really that's like you're coming home to your down dog, and you adjust how you need. Let yourself do what feels good. Now we're going to do that again. Next inhale will bring us out to that plank. Again, coming into a back bend or not is totally up to you. You can let yourself move through or not into a back bend, a choice. And then we'll make our way back again into down dog. Good. And from here, let's bring our left foot forward. Coming on into lunge again. And then we'll make our way back into standing forward bend. Right into the breaths. Finding those little spaces. Imagine you're resting in those little spaces between your breaths. Feeling the ribs expand as you inhale. Feeling them contract as you exhale. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips, bend our knees. We're going to rise up and we're going to inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. Once your hands are up there, interlace your fingers. Turn your palms away from you. Now you can bring the hands forward if you need, or you can bring the hands directly up overhead. That's up to you. And then just come over to the left a little bit, stretching a little more through the right side of the body. You doesn't have to go far. Come on back into center and go the other way. And let yourself just easily. And do that again. Coming on back up to the top and then moving over to the left, pressing into the heel of the right hand. And then coming back up to the top and going the other way. And then coming on back and let your arms come on down. Now we're going to make one big circle. So inhale your arms forward and up. And bring them on back behind you if you can, opening through the chest till they come down, and then we'll reverse that circle. So reaching back like we did when we started, sitting down with one arm at a time, and just feeling our shoulders. And then just shake everything out a little bit. Move around if you need to, walk around, move your legs, your feet. We're going to, yes, if you need to turn the fans up, do it. If you need to, there, you push the button. Push it and you'll figure it out. Because I forget till I'm just right there doing it. And they're oscillating, aren't they? They're moving? Okay. Okay. All right, we're going to come into some warriors. We're going to come into warrior 2 first. And you might want to turn your chair around. You want your blocks handy. So if you don't have a chair, for sure have your blocks there. And line up your heels. Get your right foot about parallel to the back edge of your mat. Let your left heel float up a little bit here. Find that release down of that outer left hip. And then just go ahead, release your heel back down. We're going to rise the arms straight on up and out from the shoulders. Get them a little bit higher than your shoulders. Like you can really feel them up there. You can feel your shoulders melt down. And then lower them enough to where when you look out over the top of that left hand, it feels pretty good. You don't have your chin way up, but you don't have your chin tucked down. You just got that perfect place where you can look right out over the top of your hand and look out beyond that like you're looking through the wall out to the horizon. Feel the feet in the floor equally. Feel the hands reaching equally away from the midline. And now bring your right hand down onto your right hip. We're going to straighten the left leg out. And we're going to bring that left hand down for triangle. Now, that doesn't mean you have to go far. You might go way up to the back of your chair. You might go down to your leg. You might go down to the seat of your chair. Whether you add that right arm straight up is totally up to you in your triangle. You can keep the hand down on your hip and be perfectly happy. You can bring the arm straight up from your shoulder with the palm facing out. You can look up, you can look forward or down, right? Whatever your neck feels good to do. So one more breath. And then we're going to bend that left knee and come on back into warrior 2. Press those feet away from each other as you come. Good. We're going to find a lunge here. So bring your hands down to where you like to use for your lunge, releasing now your right heel directly behind you. Feel the feet in the floor here. And we're going to add a twist. Left hand comes to the left hip, turning to the left here. You can have your hand on your low back. You can have your hand on your hip. You can stretch the arm up if it feels fine for your shoulder, right up from your shoulder, or keep it down. So one more breath. And then bring your hands on back down. We're going to straighten that front knee out for a second. Let the back heel just go directly back behind your foot. It might not be on the floor, or it might be on the floor. It doesn't matter. Just get into the calf there. Stretch out a little deeper. And then we'll bend that front knee again. We're going to step forward, get our feet under us. We'll bend our knees. We're going to come on up to standing and inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands right down in front of our chest. Find your mountain pose briefly. If you need to shift around a little bit or sway around a little bit, do. Good. And then shake it out. Move through a little bit. We're going to do the other side. So we're going to step the right foot forward and come into warrior two. Line those heels up. So getting into about a line, if you were to draw a line forward from your back heel to your front heel, that front knee is bent no farther forward than your ankle. There you are in your warrior two legs. Float your front right heel up a little bit. Feel that drop down feeling in the outer right hip. Knee lines up. And then lower your heel on down. Float your arms on up higher than your shoulders. Let yourself soften your shoulders down. And then lowering the hands so that when you turn to look out over the top of that hand, spread your fingers a little bit. Feel energy all the way out through your fingertips, both hands. Feel the feet equal in the floor here. So you're equal all the way up into your hips. Beautiful. One more breath. And then we'll bring our left hand down. We're going to straighten our right knee out and bring our right hand down for triangle. So again, once you get your right hand down, if it doesn't feel good, you need to come up higher, do. You may want to go a little further down and lengthen your torso out over that leg. Top arm coming up is totally optional. If you want to bring it up straight up from your shoulder, you can. Or you can keep that hand right down on your hip. Now, if your neck is iffy, looking down sometimes is a huge relief. Or looking forward sometimes feels the best, but sometimes it feels like fun to try to look up. So if you want to turn to look up towards the ceiling, towards that hand up there, you can. We're going to bend the front knee and come on back into warrior two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. Now remember, we're going to come down and find lunge. So whether you use your chair or you use your blocks or you use the floor, that is totally up to you. That heel's reaching, left heel directly behind your foot. Bring your right hand to your right hip and turn into that twist. So hand can be on the low back. You can have the hand reaching up from the shoulder if you choose to. Lengthening all the way through the body here. And then we'll come on back down with the hand, back to lunge. We're going to straighten that front knee out and let that back heel descend just directly behind your foot. So we're not coming into pyramid, just letting your foot be real parallel and letting yourself find the back of the leg a little deeper. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bend the front knee, step forward, get our feet right underneath us. Let yourself release wherever you need to. You know that. You can have your hands supported or you can go into a forward bend here. And then we'll bend our knees, press into our feet, and rise on up to standing. We'll inhale the arms out and up. And on the exhale, let your hands come on down together in front of your heart. Find your mountain pose briefly. Feel very equal between your feet. Let yourself just settle into your breath again. And then we'll release. Let our arms come on down beside us. Shake out a little bit. And we're going to come into warrior one this time. So it'll be the left foot forward again. Again, you want to have your blocks handy in case you want them. We'll step our left foot forward and our right foot back and come into front-facing warrior. So if you have your chair here, you know, it keeps you honest with both hands on the chair. You know that you've got your shoulders around square towards the front of your mat. And don't force anything. Shorten your stance if you need to. Back foot is fully grounded, turned out maybe 20 or 30 degrees. Letting your hands come to your heart here. Look down as you bend that left knee. Make sure it's not going out beyond your toes. And as you bring your gaze on forward, let's inhale the hands up through the midline. And you can open them either right above the shoulders or a wider V, depending on what feels good for you. Maybe looking up a little bit, maybe just to where the wall meets the ceiling, right? Getting that uplift in the front of the body, the lift of the belly, the release down of the low back here. One more breath. And then we'll release our arms on down. We're going to turn sideways on our mat. We're going to come into a little goddess. So turn your toes out a little bit. Let your knees bend. Now, as you kind of shift a little bit, bending one knee a little more and shift a little, you may decide you want to go a little bit wider, or you might not want to be that wide, right? That's up to you. Knees out over the center of the feet. Let your hands just come to your heart for a second. In your goddess, okay? This is hips, right? So if you need to kind of straighten a little bit and then shift, and your quads are talking to you too. Knees are coming out over the center of the feet. And then just open your arms into goddess arms. So now you spread the fingers wide. Your elbows are bent to about 90 degrees. You can feel nice and strong here, very equal. If you feel really kind of spunky, you can try lifting both your heels up. If you want to try a little balance there. Woo! And then bring your heels on back down. And we're going to straighten the legs out, turn our feet more parallel. And we're going to come forward, grab blocks if you need them. Coming into your wide-legged forward bend. So let your hands be out in front of you so your back is lengthened here at first. And then bend a knee at a time. So whether your hands are up higher or down on the floor. Have a little bit of a long spine here, and then just bend a knee at a time. Good. And then come back to center. Bend both your knees equally a little bit here. Kind of imagine your inner thighs are melting their way behind you. Make sure your feet are not rolling to the inside or the outside there. And then you can decide, do you want to stack blocks up and stay out more in front of yourself here with your back longer? Are you comfortable to bring your hands down and back more towards between your feet? Or you can use a block for anything, your hands, your arms, your head, or you can let yourself just release, allow the head to hang, wherever feels okay for your own back. So just be real easily here with those deep, full breaths in and out. So feeling that expansion of the ribs. As you inhale, feeling the ribs expand in all directions. Good. One more breath. And then starting to slowly make your way up. It is up to you. If you need to bring your feet together more, you can use your hands on your thighs to help you rise up. And then we can walk around a little bit, move through our feet and our ankles. So take your time. Let yourself be mindful. Circle if you need to. And we're going to go into the right foot being forward for that warrior one now. So right foot forward, left foot back. And if in your warrior one, it helps you to separate your feet a little bit more rather than having them, heels lined up, you can separate, right? That's a bit broader base. For some of us, it feels a lot better up into the hips. So be mindful, back foot grounded. Let your hands come to your heart. Shoulders are square towards the front of your mat. Good. And then we'll inhale the hands up through the midline. Now you can open them as wide out as you want. You can keep them closer together. Let yourself bring that lift through the front of the body here. Inhaling up the front of the body, exhaling down the back of your body. Good. One more breath. And then we'll lower the arms on down. We're going to turn again for that goddess. Doesn't matter which way you guys turn on your mat. Let your toes turn out a little bit so you're turned out up into your hips. And knees are bent out over the center of your feet. Bring your hands to your heart for a second. See if you can feel really equal from your feet all the way up through your thighs into your hips. And then open your hands out in your goddess arms now. Elbows are bent, fingers spread wide. See if when you inhale, you can straighten your legs out and straighten your arms up like you're the letter X. And then when you exhale, bend your knees, bend your elbows, come back into your goddess. So inhale, let yourself come into that big X. And as you exhale, let yourself come back. And then one more time. Inhale into that big X. And then exhale, let the knees bend. Take one more breath here. You can go a little lower if you want. Feel your tailbone drop down. And then we're going to release and come on up. Turn our feet more parallel again. And ease your way forward. Once you get there, see if you can let yourself walk over towards your right foot. Now, you may want to just shift your block a little bit to the right. Or you may want to walk all the way over to your right foot. And then come back to center and over to the left. So again, you can go just a little bit. You can stay up on a block, or you can hold on to your ankle or your foot. Draw yourself in towards your leg. And then we'll come on back into center. Ease your way now into where you're going to be able to stay with your breath. Again, if you like to use blocks, any height for anything, let yourself do it. Elbows can rest above your knees too, if that gives your back support, where you feel like you can release in the upper body a little more in this pose. So take your time and breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. Let your face soften. Let go through your jaw. If it helps to kind of let your teeth separate a little bit, do. One more full deep breath. And we are going to slowly from here start to come up to standing. And you want to take your time when you come up. Don't force it. If you're dizzy, stay a little bit before you bring your feet together so you're okay and you can start to move around a little bit again. Good. Okay, so those of you at home, I forgot to say at the beginning of this that you need to get a strap for later. We don't need our straps yet, guys, but for later, if you have a belt or even a towel at home or something you can use, grab it. So you'll have it for when we go back down to the floor, okay? And now we need either a wall, so you guys need to either pull into a wall, or at home you can use a cabinet or something, right? Because we're just going to do a little bit of a quad and a calf stretch. So we'll come into first facing the wall or facing whatever it is you're going to put your hand on, okay? And then just bend your right knee, flex the foot, and draw your right heel in towards your buttocks. Now, some of you can reach back with your right hand and get hold of your foot, right? Some of us, that's out of the question. So you be where you can. If you have your foot, you can press the foot into the hand, let yourself engage that way, and you can, if you want, send your knee back behind you a little more. Let your chest come forward towards the wall. Those of you at the wall, if you want to even lift that left arm up higher, you can do a little dancers without the full balance, but really it is a back bend, so be careful. So just be mindful. Let yourself go where you can. Good. And then come on back down with that foot. We're going to switch legs. So take your time. Again, left foot comes back. You can put both hands on the wall if you want and just flex that foot, draw the heel in towards you, or you can reach back, left hand to that left foot. And then again, you can decide. Press the foot. The knee can stay directly down. The knee can go back behind you if you want. Letting yourself just enjoy coming into the quad, feeling the chest kind of come forward, right? So there is a little bit of a back bend as you come into that, right? Good. And then let yourself release. Shake out a little bit. And we're going to do a little calf stretch now, okay? Stepping the left foot to the wall. Let your toes touch the wall. Now, if you want, you can curl your toes up the wall. Now, not everybody's feet will do that, right? But if you can, curl your toes up the wall. Put your right foot behind you so that the heel is fully on the floor and it's reaching directly behind your foot. Don't let it turn in like Warrior One, okay? And then just softly bend that left knee towards the wall. See if you can touch the wall even, with your knee. Zip up your belly. You can put your hands on the wall, put your head on your hands, and then just zip up and let yourself reach into that inner right heel back there. If it's not enough, you can make your stance longer if you want. You can step farther back. If it's too much, then shorten it, because I'm telling you, it's an intense calf stretch. It doesn't have to be long to be intense. It can be intense being really short. So take your time. We're all built differently. Be where you can. Good. Very nice. And then we're going to switch. So coming on out of that, bringing the right foot forward. Again, if you can curl the toes, all the toes. The ball of the foot stays on the floor. It's just the toes. And some of you, it might not work for some of our toes. So just touch the tips if you need to. And then keep that left heel grounded as you bend your knee in towards the wall. Zip up your belly. And again, you can make a little pillow with your hands and just put your forehead on your hands. Let yourself find what you can there. And again, if it's too much, shorten the stance. If it's more that you want, then lengthen. Good. One more breath there. And then let yourself step back from the wall and come into a capital letter L, printed letter L, down dog at the wall. If your wrists bother you, do fists on the wall, right? If you can make that 90-degree angle at the hips, let yourself hug your elbows towards each other a little bit. See if you can imagine, bend your knees a tiny bit. Imagine you're trying to make your feet press apart away from each other. Feel your inner thighs melt their way behind you as you hug your elbows in. So elbows hug in, feet press away from each other. Spine is lengthened. Should feel really good. Really nice. One more breath. Beautiful. And then let yourself release. Walk on back to the wall. And come on down. And we're going to come down to our bellies on the floor. So let yourself come down onto your belly and have your strap handy. So you can reach over and get it here, but we're not going to use it yet. So coming onto your belly, and let's find just a little Sphinx pose here. So bringing your forearms right there, elbows under the shoulders. Spread your fingers wide here now. Let yourself just enjoy. Look there between your hands. So try not to jut your chin forward. Let your neck feel nice and long when you just look between your hands there. And then go ahead and bring your hands together, interlace your fingers, send your pinky finger out. Look at the thumb that you have on top, right? Because we're going to undo our hands, bring our other thumb on top, and interlace our fingers and send our pinkies out. And then you can either bend your knees and come up into a half forearm plank right here, pressing into the forearms, elbows hugging towards each other, or you can put your toes on the floor, lift your knees up off the ground, and come into your full plank. Up to you. So whether it's half or full, doesn't matter. Let your belly stay engaged. See if you can let yourself breathe. Watch your breaths in and out. They'll probably be a little more shallow. One more breath. And then we're going to come on down. And let's roll to our left side. Draw your knees up a little bit, okay? You're up on your forearm still. Your left elbow is right under your shoulder. And you can make a loose fist with your left hand down here. Send it kind of toward the right front corner of your mat a little bit so you have that little bit of an angle. And there's a side plank. You don't have to do any more than this, right? You're not dropping into your shoulder. You're really pressing your forearm down, and that makes space between your ear and your shoulder. Now, if you want more, you can do it. You can lift your hips up with the knees bent. That's a little more. You can put your right top foot on the floor and lift your hips up, which is even a little bit more than that, right? Or you can do a full side plank, on your forearm here, letting yourself be there if you choose. So, there are all kinds of choices. You're not trying to hurt your shoulder, though, by the way. Just, you're trying to build strength. One more breath. And then we're going to come on back down. We're going to come through center and roll right to the other side. So as you come to that other side, you have got your elbow right underneath your shoulder, knees forward, so you're kind of released here. You're pressing into your forearm. That loose fist helps you. That might be enough. That's engaging your shoulder. Just try not to drop your weight into your shoulder, and that's a huge difference right there. If you want to kind of lift your hips up a little, you can. If you're like, no, I don't want to do that, don't. If you want to put your top foot on the floor, lift up from there. You can come into your forearm side plank, or you can reach into a full side plank here if you choose. Totally up to you. Good. We're going to come on down onto our bellies again. And let yourself now bring your arms down alongside you. And when you inhale, float up into a little locust pose. Reach your fingertips and your toes back towards the wall behind you. Doesn't have to be high. You're engaging your back muscles just to float a little bit up. And then we're going to come down. We're going to shift back towards pose of a child. So everybody's child's pose depends on their knees and hips, right? So big toes together, knees as far apart as you want. Now you can stay kind of forward on your forearms. Just let your head hang if you want. Or you can shift your hips back. And you can keep your arms soft overhead, or you can use your hands as a pillow, or you can bring your arms back alongside your legs with the palms facing up. Breathing into your low back here now. So imagine someone has their hands right on your low back, and you can breathe into that feeling of somebody's hands and feel that you can make their hands rise with your breath. Good. And from here, to make your way to sitting, let your hands come back by your knees. Make your way on around with your legs. Stretch them on out there. And move through your ankles a little bit. Shake your legs out. And before you lie down, make sure your strap's handy there, because we are going to come down onto our backs on the floor. So let yourself release on down. And once you get there, bring your knees up so your feet are on the floor. And do a few little pelvic tilts. Let yourself just very easily, as you exhale, feel your tailbone curling up. Your low back comes into the floor. And when you inhale, the tailbone drops back down. The curve comes back into your low back there. But just let it go easy with your breath. Exhaling as you curl your tailbone up a little. Let it be real deep and small. Good. And then let your arms come in closer beside your body. We're going to do a little bridge pose. Get your feet really set, the width that you know you feel pretty good at here. You want your toes to face parallel your feet out. So the toes face the bottom of your mat. And bend your elbows. Press into the backs of your arms. Roll your shoulders under a little more. And see if you can then keep pressing into your arms and just float up a little higher with your hips. Doesn't matter how high. You can always roll the shoulders under more when you get there. Some of you may want to stretch your arms down long onto the floor. Or, of course, you can clasp your hands underneath you in bridge pose, which really forces you really almost to roll your shoulders under even more. But that's certainly not for everybody's shoulders. So long arms, bent elbows. You should feel no compression in your low back in your bridge pose. So if you do, come down and readjust a little bit. Don't go so high. Maybe bring your feet a little closer or farther away from you before you press up into bridge, because you certainly don't want to feel. There is a lengthening feeling, both in the front and in the back of your body. Good. So one more breath there. And then let yourself slowly come on back down. Bring your knees in towards your chest here now, and see if you can have your right hand on your right knee, your left hand on your left knee, and then circle the knees in one direction. And you're just giving them a little bit of guidance with your hands. And then reverse and let the circles go the other way. They don't need to be big. They can be big if you want. That's up to you. Whatever feels the best in your back and your hips. And then come on back to center. We're going to bring the feet down, and we're going to get a hold of those straps that we have, right? Or whatever you have at home, a belt or a towel. Bringing your right foot up into that strap across the base of your big toe mound and your little toe mound. So it's across the ball of your foot. And bend the knee if you need. Take your time. If you're able to extend your left leg down long on the floor, do it. If that's too much, don't do it. Keep your foot on the floor with the knee bent. Bend the right knee as much as you need. Kind of feel the weight of your arms and feel the shoulders just melted down into the floor. It doesn't matter how close your leg is towards you. As you start to come into that straighter leg, if you need to, let it come farther away from you. I know it's hard sometimes not to overly grip on straps. Another thing you can do is wrap the strap around your hands. So if that helps, so that you're not, being really uncomfortable in your hands, do it. Now, you got to find what works. Let yourself just feel your breaths now as you allow the back of your leg to just gradually open up. You don't want to pull. You certainly don't want to feel any kind of pulling sensation at your sit bone where your hamstring attaches right there. So don't pull. Just let the body gradually find a little more release there for the back of your leg. And just be with your breath. Let it feel good. And then we'll bring both ends of the strap into our right hand. You can put your left hand on the top of your left hip there, on your hip bone, pointer bone there, and then rotate the leg out to the right and stay grounded in your left side. So you don't want that hip to pop up off the ground. Let yourself stay grounded. Doesn't matter how far you go. Press gently with your foot into the strap a little bit so you're engaged. And then we'll come back up to the top. And we're going to switch to bring the left hand over to the both ends of the strap. Stretch your right arm out beside you. And bring the leg across to the left. Now, if you want to go 2 inches, go 2 inches, right? Which brings a lot into the back of the leg and the outside of that right leg. You can keep descending down towards the floor if that feels good to you to come farther over into that twist. Turning the head to the right, too, if that feels good, to let yourself turn, to look away from the way your leg's going, you can. So just take your time. Feeling that really nice release into the legs and the hips. One more breath. And then we'll bring the leg on back up to the top. Bend the knee a little bit. We're going to switch legs. So the easiest usually is just to put your left foot up there and bring your right foot out of the strap and get it arranged there across the base of the big toe mound and the little toe mound. And again, you can keep your right foot on the floor, or you can extend that right leg out long. Now let the left knee bend a little. Let yourself feel again the weight of your arms. The shoulders melted down into the ground. And now when you start to be able to straighten the leg, remember, it can come way far away from you. That doesn't mean you're not getting a release in the back of your leg. You do not want to pull the leg to find that pulling sensation in your hamstring there, in the back of right there at your sit bone is where it attaches. So just be mindful, not forcing, just letting the breath do the work for you. Just watching your breaths in and out. And then let's bring both ends of the strap into our left hand. Right hand comes to the top of the right hip, and we're going to open the leg to the left. So again, you're staying grounded in the right side. You can press the foot gently into the strap so you feel a little bit more in that inner left thigh there. Good. We're going to come on back up to the top with the leg and let your right hand come over to get the strap. Stretch your left arm out beside you. And again, as you bring the leg over across the midline, you decide, do you want to just go 2 inches? That is actually sometimes deeper than going further, right? You can even add a little bit, putting your thumb, your left thumb, into the top, right where your leg meets your body there, and pressing down a little bit, and then coming over. Just be mindful. Let it feel like a huge release. It can be a very deep twist, or it can be not so deep. Being with your breaths. And then we're going to slowly come back up to the top. Now, once you get there, see if you can put both feet up there in the strap. And bend your knees if you need to. Let the legs come farther away if you need, right? You want to just be mindful. And then start to separate your feet. Now, how wide you come into a wide angle here is totally up to you. Letting your feet come on apart and taking your time there. So feeling the feet pressing gently into the strap. Let yourself imagine drawing your tailbone down a little bit. Good. So one more breath there. And then start to bring the feet on back up. Go ahead and take your strap off. Just make sure you don't bang yourself in the head with your buckle. And let the knees come on in. And start to do whatever movement right now feels good to your body. It can be a stretch. It can be a yoga pose. It might not be any kind of pose you want to be thinking about. It might want to be just letting your body do whatever it needs. Before we come into Shavasana, you want to be able to be comfortable. So if you need a happy baby or the soles of the feet together, I know some of you might want to do that figure 4 stretch after those deep hamstring stretches where you can release your hips. You may want some easy twists, which a lot of you are already doing. So take your time. Same thing at home. You all take your time to let your body do for another breath or two, whatever feels good to you. And although I cannot bring you things at home for support, I can do it here. So I'm going to start bringing bolsters around for those of you here. If you're not ready, you don't have to take it yet. Are you ready? You're welcome. So again, I am trying to definitely spray the heck out of these things after I use them. Also, somebody told me about a UV light, which I'm going to order. I don't know. Do you suppose that really works? Anybody know? Yeah, how do we know? That's the issue. I got you, Donna. So welcome. Bolster, Miss Catherine. You're good? Okay. So take your time at home to get comfortable. I will probably, those of you at home, just kind of gradually fade out there with you all so that if you can stay a little bit less long or a little longer in your Shavasana there at home, but be sure to release here for a few minutes at least. And those of you who are here, if you need something, wave at me if you don't feel like you can get comfortable here. Bringing your arms and your legs to an easy place where your shoulders and your hips feel relaxed. And then just accepting your breaths as they come in and go out. You know how we found those little spaces between the breaths earlier? Sometimes that helps quiet your mind a little bit too, becoming aware of those little spaces, resting in those spaces between your breaths. And just enjoy feeling the ground supporting you, feeling that sense of being able almost to melt down into the floor. And keep bringing your awareness back to your breath. Every time you wander off into a thought, just softly come back to the breath. If you drift off, fine. Just give your body and your brain time to benefit from all you just did. Just by letting yourself completely and fully relax.